Look at BTC on a weekly time frame, and now the reason we want to look at the weekly time frame is to bring clarity into perspective. And if you look critically from our line chart, you'll see on a weekly time frame there is a build-up of support structure from the close of the two highs. The high in November 2021 and the high in March 2024. They both provided a buy floor and also sustained the buying from further onslaughts. So the price action is creating here's a demand structure, here's a demand structure, here's a break of structure, here is a retest, here is a break of a supply roof, and here is a demand structure. So in the future, here is a buy. And we have a breakout from a weekly descending trend line followed by a retest. Here remains a valid buy floor. Now and in the future, until we have a potential downswing away from the structure, and that will technically bring price into this place where we'll have double confluence, and we'll have a double confluence around the 55. This remains a structure that must be respected, and I want to change the color, knowing fully well that price will come into this structure. It makes it symbolic. So on a weekly time frame, I expect a potential drop in price to come into that zone. Then let's get our ascending trend line in order. So after we have formed this double top structure, we broke out from the neckline, we retested and sold down, and price is expected to return. And let's look at it again and see. The week has closed above supply roof, and yes, there is lack of liquidity, lack of momentum, but there is break of structure. We cannot deny that. But there is something that might hinder us from further upswing, and we must acknowledge that structure. So on a weekly time frame, it's expected that based on the structure we have, and the week has closed above 93.693, which happens to be a clear break of a supply roof. This is a supply roof at this level on the weekly time frame, and that structure has been broken. So it makes a whole lot of sense for us to see that on technical for selling to pull back and the return. Yeah, so price might want to retest, and believe it or not, there might be weekly rejection, very strong weekly rejection. And look at what price has done here on a weekly time frame. Look at what price has done here. Look at what price has done on a weekly time frame, and it was kindly rejected before a continuous sell. And we look back this on daily structure, we'll see it was a retest. And let's go back to daily. Let's go back to daily to put it into perspective. Let's go back into daily. It's like we got into trouble because on a weekly time frame, you see the structure of the market on a weekly time frame. Whatever bias you see that holds on a weekly time frame, it's it's stronger than the bias you have on a daily time frame. And whatever you have on daily is stronger than whatever you see on 4 hours. When we have a weekly close means weekly close. And you can't bring in daily close to come and overwrite a weekly close. When we have on a weekly, for example, the descending trend line we had here on a weekly breakout was confirmed for a buy continuation, and it ended up that way. After we had this candle breakout, the next candle came back and retested, and it went crazy. It went crazy, crazy, and crazier than we thought. So now we look back here to see the price action. Now, if you look back on the price action, you will see that we have here as a resistance structure. After break of structure, we have here as a support structure. We have here as a support structure, break of a support structure. Price came back here as a resistance structure, break of a resistance structure, came back here as a support structure, break of a resistance structure. And when price came here, it respected it before break of a resistance structure, return here as a demand structure, break of a resistance structure, I mean of a support structure, most likely returns here as a resistance structure. And if that is what it wants to do, it looks like we've got ourselves into a wrong analysis. Looks like so, but we still have hope in a buy. But from what the weekly structure is saying, the weekly structure is overruling. The weekly structure is overruling all daily analysis. So if they overrule all daily analysis, then we are wrong. And if we look at it on monthly and monthly overrules weekly analysis, then we are wrong. You see, everything about trading is probability, and it is what it is. So let's see if we can manage to sustain ourselves on the weekly support. Break of a supply roof becomes a support structure. Break of 93.394. So let's see if price manages to uphold that level. If they uphold that level, then we can technically see ourselves. Look at it on a weekly time frame. So you see the structure is correct on the weekly time frame. After cloning our floor, we're able to get our roof. We clone it and we get our roof actively. So if this is what it is, ladies and gentlemen, we've got ourselves in a wrong analysis. So it is what it is. It is what it is. And this is why it is always important to look at a higher time frame. For higher time frame will give you a clear directional bias, which you won't find on a lower time frame. But for here, I can tell you for free, the structure on a weekly time frame cannot be overruled for the sake of a daily analysis. It's impossible to do that. It's impossible to do that. We can't do that. Cannot do that. It is giving rejection. Or what is given is rejection, pure rejection on a weekly time frame. And this provides a clue to that rejection. This structure provides a clue. So it's technically what it is, and to be honest, there's nothing we can do. There's nothing we can do. So the clarity we needed here was, let's see if the buying potential will continue and return to this weekly floor. If it returns here, then we are guaranteed of a clear 114. Yes, it has to return here. This is a clear buy confirmation now. So I think we have to upgrade our confirmation to weekly confirmation. So if it has to break this structure so that we can now look up to the rally on this section, rally on this section, rally on this section. So we can now have something like that. So if price returns here on weekly, then we are guaranteed 114, 113. Nothing will stop it. But if they don't climb and get back here, most likely what you will see is begin to make it well. And if it breaks here, then it has no option than to return here. And a return into this structure might ultimately bring price into this place. So let's watch it. Let's watch it. I think at the moment you can still give the market a break and allow this week to close. And that's where it is.